This is lesson number 1 for First Moveable Guitar Chords. If you've learned your open chords and you're ready to start moving up the neck, this is a good place to start. And if you're working through my rhythm guitar books, I often recommend working on this book after Rhythm Guitar Book 2 and before Rhythm Guitar Book 3. In this book, you're going to learn 8 different chord shapes, 2 movable major shapes, 2 minor shapes, 2 dominant 7 shapes, and 2 power chord shapes, and we're going to go over those shapes in just a minute. To use these shapes, you need to know the notes on strings 5 and 6, and we're going to cover that in the next lesson. You can watch all these videos for free, but it's going to be a lot easier to learn if you have your own copy of First Moveable Guitar Chords that you can read from and write in, plus you can help support a music teacher, so I'll leave a link in the description. On page 4, you can see the 8 movable chord shapes you're going to learn through the course of this book. We have 2 major shapes, 2 minor shapes, 2 7th chord shapes, and 2 power chord shapes. And this is going to be a very brief overview. We're going to explore these chords further as we go through the book. The first 2 chords we're going to look at are movable major chord shapes, and this is a movable major shape with the root on the 6th string. Now the root is the note the chord is built on, and what you'll be doing with each of these shapes is moving it around depending on what your root note is, and we're going to get into root notes and finding them in the next lesson. This first shape is written as a C major chord because we're placing our root note on the C, string 6, fret 8. And it is played with finger 1, 3, 4, 2, 1, and 1. Now that's a C again because I'm placing my root on the C on the 8th fret. If I were to move it to the 7th fret where the B is, it's a B major. Move it again, it's a B flat major. And again, we're going to talk about finding those 5th and 6th string notes in the next chapter. This next major shape has the root on the 5th string. This is also a C major chord because I'm placing the root of the shape on the C on the 5th string, 3rd fret. This is fingered 1, and then 3, 3, and 3. So finger 3 is barring, and we're muting the 1st string and the 6th string. Now you can play this barring the 1st string as well. A lot of people like to do it like that. I prefer to only play the middle 4 strings and bar that 1st string if I have to. So that first shape had a root on the 6th string. The shape we just looked at has the root on the 5th string, and that'll be the case with all of these other chords. One will have the root on the 6th string, one with the root on the 5th string. So let's take a look at the 6th string minor shape. This is finger 1, 3, 4, and then 1, 1, 1. So finger 1 is doing a whole lot of barring there. And I am playing this as a C minor because I'm placing my root of the shape on the C on string 6, fret 8. And this is just like the major shape you looked at that's on the 6th string. All you have to do is take that major shape, take your 2nd finger away. And here we have our 5th string minor shape. This is finger 1, 3, 4, and 2. And if you like, you could also bar the 1st string, so that would be 1st finger barring the 1st string as well. I like to play just the middle 4 strings and bar if I have to. And I am playing this as a C minor because the root of this shape is being placed on the C, string 5, fret 3. If I wanted to play, say, a C sharp minor, I would move it 1 to the right. Next up we have dominant 7 shapes, and dominant 7 chords are more often called just 7th chords. So G7, C7, A7, those are dominant 7 chords. Here's our dominant 7 shape with the root on the 6th string. I'm playing this as a C7 because I'm placing my root on the C on the 6th string, 8th fret. This is finger 1, 2, 4, and 3, and I'm using the part of my finger that connects with the knuckle right there to mute the 1st string. And I'm also using the pad of my 1st finger to mute the 5th string. And you can play this as a fuller type of a shape if you like. This would be finger 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, and 1. So a lot of barring here. I personally like to use this 4-finger shape, and that's what we'll be using in the book. The reason I like to use this shape is because there's no barring. If you're playing for a long time, it's just easier on the fingers. And here's another dominant 7 shape with the root on the 5th string. This may look familiar because this is simply a C7. You probably already know the open C7. The difference between the C7 you might be used to playing and this version of a dominant 7 chord is that I'm muting the 1st string, and I make sure also I'm not playing the 6th string. So I'm only playing the middle 4 strings. So you can take that C7 shape that you already know with the root right there on the 3rd fret, that C at the 5th string, make it a movable chord by muting that 1st string, no open strings, and so you can move it around. There's a C7, C sharp 7, D7, E flat 7. The last type of chord you're going to learn in this book is the power chord shape, and that's just 2 fingers, finger 1 and 3, and I'm not playing the rest of the strings. I do want to make sure that the next string down, under where my 3rd finger is, I want to make sure that string is muted, so that way I don't have to be too cautious with my strumming. Now this is a C power chord, or C5, that I'm playing because I'm placing the root note on that C. And the other shape, well, it's actually the same shape, it's just on the other string, finger 1 and 3, with the root on the 5th string. And again, you want to make sure you're muting the string that's right under your 3rd finger, so you can strum to your heart's content without worrying about getting an extra note. And you can also play power chords with 3 fingers. You would just add your pinky, the same fret as your 3rd finger, just the next string down. And either way is valid. In this book, I like to use the 2-finger version. To use these shapes, you're going to need to know the names of the notes on strings 5 and 6, and that's what we're going to cover in the next lesson. And don't forget to order your own copy of First Moveable Guitar Chords. I'll leave a link in the description.